You've done the hardest part. You got customers, your first customers, that's the hardest. You've made revenues. Getting your first dollar is the hardest dollar you earn, period. So you've hit that first bit of like success that you needed in order to go, I got to go keep chasing this dream. And you'd be crazy to drop this dream, and you're onto something.
Startups with Stu is a podcast for anyone living or wanting to live the startup life, either as a founder or a team member. Your host, Stuart Draper, was a 9-time Inc. 5000 honoree before age 40. This show dives deep into the exhilarating world of entrepreneurship with guests that are seeking advice from Stu for their startup or business owners that want to share their entrepreneurial journey. Listeners always walk away with actionable ideas of what to do to take their startup to the moon. Startup life can feel like a roller coaster ride. And with Startups with Stu, you're likely to turn your roller coaster ride into a rocket ship ride. Get ready to uncover the secrets to startup success from visionary founders and savvy investors who've transformed groundbreaking ideas into thriving ventures.
This episode is brought to you today by PodUp. PodUp.com is the leading all-in-one AI-powered podcasting software. If you've ever considered having a podcast, want to get started, go to podup.com and check it out. I produce my podcast, use a variety of tools and producers that help me get everything done that I'm doing. Podallies.com is the agency I choose. If you're interested in having a podcast, you don't want to do it yourself through podup.com, I highly recommend that you go check out podallies.com and schedule a strategy call with one of their production specialists. They will be able to help you and think through everything you need to before you get started on your journey as a podcaster. Welcome to another episode of Startups with Stu, where we talk about what it takes to take your startup to the moon. Today, we're going to be talking to Nick Hepworth, the founder of Subbit, and what it takes to take his startup to the moon. He's just getting going. Nick, good to have you on the show today.
Yep. Hi, Stu. How you doing? Thanks for having me.
So glad to do this. With a mustache like that, you are bound to succeed, bro.
Hey, we're still early stage of the startup. Oh, sorry, of the mustache too. You know what I mean? We got to get it growing in the middle, so we're getting there. But day by day.
I love it. I'm jealous. I wish I could grow the hair you have and the mustache you have. So,
dude, yeah, it's got to get the mullet and the stash going. It's definitely good. Good for the sales. Good for the startup.
Great for the sales. So, speaking of sales, you have sales. You've got some traction. You guys are off the ground with Subbit. Tell us what Subbit does and where sales are today.
Yeah. So Subbit, I'll kind of bring you through the story of it all. So I started off in Mississippi. If you're familiar with the South, that's where I'm from Alabama. Had a little job in Mississippi working for a marketplace startup over there. And they were doing an auction. So you could sell your car on an auction and then a dealer would come and bid on it. Loved working with those guys. The founder was really cool. Kind of inspired me to come out here and do my own startup. And I was looking at different ideas, and I really wanted to start my own subscription business. You know what I mean? I really, really love the Etsy model. I love how Amazon was doing things where you could list a subscription or you could list whatever item you want to on a marketplace. Customers could come in. That was great. And I was like, why isn't it that easy to do a subscription model? You know what I mean? Why can't I just offer a subscription for what I do? And so I looked into everything. I wanted to do gym supplement subscriptions, and that was great and all. I went out and I got into Rexburg, and I was like, dude, it's way too hard, way too expensive. I can't do a subscription model unless I do some sort of integration. It gets a little difficult. And so I had my computer science roommate from Tokyo, Japan, and I said, dude, let's make, and I had all these technical words at the time. I didn't even know what I was talking about. I was like, let's e-commercialize the subscription model for everyone accessible. It's like, dude, what are you talking about? And he had no idea what I was even talking about in the beginning. He was like, yeah, sure, I guess, little language barrier in the beginning there. But slowly but surely, we just started talking to business owners saying, hey, how have you guys done a subscription model before? How have you guys implemented it and how hard was it? And we kind of just found out that we could really, dive in deep with these businesses who wanted to offer a subscription but couldn't. They wanted to do it in store, but they couldn't. And all these different categories who had a very repeatable product or a service like home cleaning, barbershops, or like a coffee shop even, but they couldn't do a subscription for what they wanted to do. So we just started giving them a lot of tools to do it and kind of creating out the tool with them and working with them hands-on every day to figure out what features they'd like to use, how we can make it better in store. And yeah, right now we're at right around, I think it's like 1,600 MRR. We're handling right around like 10,000 to 12,000, I think, around in like monthly transactional volume. So we're still new. We've been doing it now full time for around 3 months. But yeah, we started as a college startup. Yeah, we have about 50-ish businesses in Idaho and Utah who are trying it out and kind of in different categories and giving us a lot of feedback. And right under, I think it's like 500 or 600 subscribers on the inside. So got a little bit of traction. We're not satisfied at all, but definitely happy with the start.
Fantastic. So they're not subscribers to Subbit specifically. They're subscribers to your 50 businesses that have signed up. Is that right?
Yep. Exactly. Yeah. So we just made it super easy for any small business to offer a subscription for whatever they do. And we link them to the customers in store or online. And we came up with a lot of little clever ways to do it. At first we had, like the cliche QR code, you know what I mean? But we realized that your subscription, is almost like an upsell that you're doing in store. So we took those, credit card technology, NFC cards where you could tap pay. We just made it where you could tap your card in store on customers' phones. And it brought them to their subscriptions and then give them an opportunity to talk about that because they're all like, yo, that was pretty cool. What was that about? And then, that's kind of how we've been a little more disruptive on the in-store side with subscriptions and giving them really cool ways to kind of make a subscription.
Okay. So this idea of a local small mom and pop shop style business going, I want to get in the game of subscription is pretty genius in my opinion. Seems like for some businesses it would work crazy well, and then for others it's not going to be as much of a fit. But it seems like you're really, really married to or beholden to the ability of the store owner's cashiers ability. So not the store owner. The store owner has to say, yes, we want to do this. But then the cashiers have to be the ones that kind of sell people on why they should subscribe versus just take their money once and be done, right?
Right, exactly. And so, it's really, we agree. We think it's been really cool to see how businesses can offer a subscription in a unique way. But your customers are like, what is going on? What am I doing? Why am I prepaying for 10 or 15 cups every month of my soda shop? Stuff like that. Because that's kind of one of the unique ways that we've been able to implement a little subscription model. And one of the things that you really have to do, I guess, in these early days, and I have some questions for you about this. Both sides need a lot of education. And that whole education point takes a lot of okay, here's how you actually make it, to here's how you can actually implement it in store. And then every business, you can't just talk to the business owner and expect them to understand your product as well as you do. So we had to get in and talk to all the employees, talk to 10 or 15 people at once, and talking to a bunch of baristas all at one time. They got 15 million questions about how the customers use it, how the app works, how everything works that way. So yeah, I don't know. Definitely ran into some interesting hiccups as far as education goes.
Oh yeah, those are when you do something innovative that's never been done before or done well before. I'm guessing now that you've been in the game, you've gone, oh wow, there are some competitors here trying stuff like we're doing.
Yeah.
Or is that the case? You said yes, there are some competitors doing something similar.
Yeah. So our biggest competitors are a little more industry focused. So you have your loyalty tool systems. You have your different strategies that people try to use all the time, like your punch card. You have different subscription models that people do for e-commerce. But what we found that's actually super interesting is that when it comes to any kind of in-store subscription or any kind of door-to-door subscription, if you want to go clean someone's house on a subscription model, the utility for that's super low. You have about 70% of the businesses out there that can't or don't offer a subscription right now for their business, but have that repeatable service to it. So we figured okay, we can try and fill that need, but that's a lot of businesses out there. It's what is it, 35 million or what is it, 59 million jobs out there employed by small business and 45% of the US GDP. So it's dude, bunch of college guys trying to crack open that market. It's all right, we got to start small and kind of work our way up. But yeah, so a lot of these smaller businesses, they use loyalty tools, and they kind of orient their whole business model as far as retention goes on the whole hope factor. And you've probably seen this before. They try to use that punch card. They try to, use all these different systems, but it doesn't guarantee or get any kind of upfront incentive on the customer to kind of get them to come back, like a subscription model would. So we kind of found that's kind of our bread and butter. It's like, hey, stop paying money for loyalty tools or solutions that aren't really guaranteeing they come back, and kind of just set up a system a little more hands off to educate customers on how they can just subscribe to you instead.
Can they show with their smartphone that they're a subscriber? Yep. Do they use a barcode like on a keychain like you use at the gym? What?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we just made an in-customer app. So in store, we have that NFC card or that QR code, right? But customers will go in. I'll just kind of write you through a little customer journey. Yeah, they just go in. Let's say you drink coffee a lot. I'm not really a coffee drinker, but they are out there. Let's say you drink coffee a lot. You go into a business that you like to frequent often, and there's a sign that says, this is our use case usually, there's a sign that says, you'll want a free drink, ask us about our subscription. Ask them about your subscription. Barista kind of says, yeah, this is what you get. You can kind of get all these different items that you want to subscribe to, customize it how you want to. So you customize it as a customer, you just put in your email, and you kind of go through the whole checkout process, and then you get the app, and then you just show up to that business whenever you want, and kind of display your subscriptions. We have a cool little, I wish I could show you, but we have a cool little like use technology. So you have a My Subscriptions, and customers just go in, they click use, they show it to the barista, they swipe to confirm a use for a pickup of like a coffee, or if they're doing like a monthly pet food box or something like that, they can kind of keep track of all their subscriptions all together through that one app. So
yeah,
we also,
oh really?
Yeah.
So they can basically have one barcode for all their subscriptions, no matter what this is. That is it barcode or what is it? It's the near frequency technology.
Yeah. So we don't use anything with the barcode. We just have the actual app itself, and they have their subscriptions displayed on there. And so I guess the whole system works kind of like a little ecosystem we're trying to create, where our biggest competitors that we've always heard about are like Square or these larger, point of sale systems. They have their whole little tech ecosystem that they've locked their businesses into. So we didn't really want to be a part of that. We figured that your subscription ecosystem should be separate. So we just give the businesses like a dashboard. We give their end customers an app that they can use to interact with their subscription with the business. And then they can keep track of how much they're spending, how much they're saving. They can use the subscription right there and show the business that they're a subscriber instead. And then we also let them browse other local options near them that they might want to check out, like a haircut, or, could be there's this other guy, he does like a mobile service for dog cleaning, and we talk to everybody, dude. Anybody who will try it out.
So if I'm a small business owner listening to your show, I guess one of the questions I still have is like, how do I make sure my customers can't game this system?
Yeah. So one of the things when you talk about like customers, like kind of like trying to exploit the business.
Yeah, basically all of a sudden, you mentioned a soda shop. So all of a sudden 1 month, there's Johnny figured out how to give all of his friends in the high school the same subscription he has. And he took 600 cups of soda this month, right?
So we just let the business, let's use the pickup, like what you just said, the pickup subscription, for example. We let the business choose the minimum or maximum quantity that customers can subscribe for, and it's only locked to that customer's account. So customers can come in. Usually if you're paying something monthly, you aren't going to use more of an item unless you're kind of getting to the end of your subscription. It's just one use case as well with our subscription model that we kind of let them offer. Another popular ones are like discount passes and stuff like that as well. But we just lock them into one login, one session, a little more easy to kind of bootstrap it that way. And then we kind of are able to limit them and give the business full control over who's using what. We let them have their own privacy policy, terms of use policy with their subscription. So like they can kind of issue out refunds whenever they want to as well through our dashboard. Pretty much, again, the business has full control over how they orient their subscription business. We just kind of give them a lot of the tools to be able to do that.
So as I sit here listening, Nick, I just go, this is freaking genius. Every barber in America should have this, right? Because if like they come once a month, it's just on subscription. If they miss a month, but they want twice next month, like it's on subscription. So it doesn't matter. I cut your hair twice, right?
Right.
Every business where there's food, you need people to come back to you.
Right.
And if they're going to come back, why not subscribe and feel like you're getting a discount? And I say feel like it because I think over time, like you actually maybe lose as a customer, but there's the convenience of it. For some businesses, it's going to work better than others. And people are going to be more glad they're subscribing to some versus others.
Right.
But as I listen, I'm like, every small business that's listening to this, please go check out subbit.io. You got to go check it out and consider adding your business to the platform. So Nick, as I hear what you're talking about, and you say you got 50 businesses so far, and you got, let's say, 500 subscribers. Okay, that means on average, there's 10 subscribers per business. That's not that hot yet, right? We're still getting going. You mentioned 1,600 in sales, so we're still getting going. Dude, you have done it. You've done the hardest part. You got customers, your first customers, that's the hardest. You've made revenues. Getting your first dollar is the hardest dollar you earn, period. So you've hit that first bit of like success that you needed in order to go, I got to go keep chasing this dream. And you'd be crazy to drop this dream, man. You're onto something. As I listen to you though, I'm like, okay, there's still some like really important pieces to the puzzle that need to be found and locked in order for this to work. So do you want my take on what some of those things are?
Oh, that's what I'm waiting for this whole time. Yep.
Sweet. Okay. So if you listen to the story of the founder of Airbnb, he was finding that some houses did really well and some houses did really poor and they never got rented. And he had trouble getting very many people to use it because very few people were able to say that it worked for them, right? But he had this hunch that like one of the issues was that some homeowners that wanted to Airbnb their house really sucked at taking pictures. So he would show up and take really good pictures for free for them and tell them like, hey, look, I'm the founder of Airbnb. It's nice to meet you. And I want to do this for you for free. Right. Mm-hmm. And in spending that time, those individual homes that started getting rented more, those didn't make him rich. Right. But in the process of going and visiting with all the owners, he learned so much about where the hiccups were and the bottlenecks were that were keeping them from succeeding. And by the way, he was able to say like, pictures win, you have to have good pictures. And like that helped everyone know that, oh, if I do that, then I'll succeed. And it started to take off once people were winning. So you have these 50. I would not try and sell anymore unless they come to you asking if they can join. Mm-hmm. I would pick what you believe to be the top 10 best of those customers, and I would go crazy losing money and losing time helping them be able to say, Subbit kills it for me. Like all of my friends that are business owners, I have to tell them about how my business took off because of this. By the way, the MLMs of this world, they have figured this out. There is not one MLM that can't share with you like the story of the 10 millionaires they made, right? Mm-hmm. And they're always hawking like Johnny that did 2 million last year and Jim that's been with us for 25 years and he's made $1 million a year for the last 20, right? Like they tell these stories and it gives a dream, right? It helps everyone else go, I want in on that. So like you're probably going, no, Stu, I already told you, like I talked to the baristas. Like, okay, what you have to do is literally like become the sales team at the store for every last customer walking through that door that they need to sign up for the subscription. And you're literally you're like quadrupling this company's sales, not because they changed anything other than subscribing to Subbit so then others could subscribe to them, but you're like selling every last customer that walks through that door on why they should do it. And you have to get those 10 to be on board with the idea that like they're going to give away the free cup of coffee. They're going to give away whatever it is so they get the first subscribers. Mm-hmm. But that's easy to paint the picture for the business owner of like, hey, it's worth it because we're going to literally stand in your store in the line and tell people to start subscribing. Right. Right. And, I just think that in that process, one, you're going to help find your first winners that you can brag about. Like they signed up for Subbit. They went from 0 to 2,000 monthly subscribers for their business. You need that, and that will do more for your revenues than another 50 that bring you 500 subscriptions, right? 10 each on average. That's going to do less for you than one business that does 2,000. And if you can get a franchise business to do it, right? If you can get with Jeremy Carlson, another BYUI alumni like yourself, that has crispy cones and he's taken off and he's selling these new franchises, if you can get him on board to let you do it in 2 of his stores or something, and it works and works well, then all of a sudden you got him and you got all of his stores, right? And you'll go from 2 to 10 and 10 to 100 as he does the same, because he's still in this, like, I think he's at some between 10 and 20 stores now, right? Right. So to me, if I were you, I am like ultra focused, not so much on more stores, but on getting your existing stores to make it something where they want to tell every last person that walks through their door they need the subscription, right? Like, also, like, that's a part of the sales pitch, right? Is like helping them see that, no, like, if you invest in the subscription model, it multiplies the value of your business. When you want to sell your business later, business that has proven repeat business is going to do better than a business that doesn't have the proven aspect of it. So the more subscribers you have, the more the value. We're not just helping you get more sales. We're helping the value of your business grow so that when you sell it, it's worth more money. Like that, for a lot of business owners, is going to be a pretty big aha moment in your sales pitch. But like I said, don't worry too much about too many more sales. Go get the subscribers and make some businesses like ultra successful.
Yeah, that's great advice too, because I've been stuck in this like cycle, right, where I'm constantly trying to find that new business, you know what I mean, cold calling, doing outreaches, whatever I can do to get a hold of that, small group of, we're thinking like 100 businesses, you know what I mean, and working with all of them. Obviously too big. But one of the things is like that free experience in the beginning, working with them, and like also making sure that like the business owner's super excited. That's been the biggest translation to more value than we've seen. And so we came up with this idea where we would set up their whole store with like this whole subscription experience. And this has been like the past 2 or 3 weeks. And we're going to charge them $250 and we're going to go in, we're going to try it out. Nobody's buying it. You know what I mean? Because they're like, you guys are new. This is novel. Why am I going to buy this? I'm not going to implement this system that doesn't have, everybody using it like they're using Square or Shopify or anything like that. Why would I spend $250 on a concept like that? Do you think that the main miscommunication there is kind of like, okay, we got to kind of start them out on that whole free experience, prove to them that the value's there and work with them that way. And then after that, how do you think the best way is to kind of like help them and convince them of that value? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay. Taking a quick break from the episode. Sorry to interrupt, but I have to take a second and thank the great team at Pod Allies that helps me produce this podcast. Startups with Stu is not an easy undertaking. It takes a lot of work and team power to get this thing done. So the team I use for my podcast, podallies.com, go check them out. If you are considering a podcast, if you've thought you have a dream for a show and you want to go make it happen, go to podallies.com and book a strategy call today. I promise you won't regret it. Speaking of the show or shows, let's get back to Startups with Stu in this episode. Forgive my interruption, but if you're interested, go check out podallies.com. No, it's a good question. I think that the $250 price point, sadly, for most small businesses is a lot. Like, by the way, helping small businesses, especially the restaurant small business, is like one of the hardest businesses to help because of their failure rate. They come and go so fast and they don't all win. And if they're coming to you, they're pretty desperate usually for help, and they're on their last leg. Sadly, so many of them don't turn to marketing until it's too late to turn to marketing.
Right.
So I think coming to them with like, look, for entirely free, we'll set up your customers with the subscription. When they walk in the door, we say hi and we tell them why they should subscribe. But it comes from this place of like, you're going to get sales and more volume of sales because we're here, because you're letting us come into your store and do this. Mm-hmm. Like, you have to paint that picture, and it has to be true.
Right.
If it's not true and it's not actually helping, then it won't matter, and they won't care, and they won't do it. And or if they do it, they'll do it out of the goodness of their heart, and then they'll stop.
Right.
Like, it has to be true value add. That's all a part of the way to win. And it's hard because you're like, no, but I need revenues right now, Stu. Like, I can't do this forever without money.
Yeah.
But that $250 is it's tripping over pennies or $100 bills to grab pennies is what you're doing. That's how I would put that.
Right.
When you work on something that's that $250, it's not making you rich. Right. Okay. Let's say you got 10 of them. It's $2,500. It's not even covering the salary of one person on your team. So is it worth it? I think that's a good rule of thumb, by the way, a good way to gut check yourself on if you should be charging something. If it's not enough that it's going to move the needle, then don't do it. Don't charge for it. Do it for free, knowing that the big dollars can follow later. Yeah.
Okay. That's great advice. Yeah, we've never, because I mean, everybody, at least given our business model, it's always been, we kind of done the whole freemium model in the beginning, and, because we were working a lot more in like the marketplace mindset. Bad way to go, by the way. And that was a tough lesson. Only because, when it comes to subscriptions specifically, you can't market to a wide audience and hope that everybody wants to subscribe to businesses they're not even familiar with. And it's common sense stuff like that you find out after, you know what I mean? Just kind of working with everybody and, spending time and effort towards getting, 3,000 people, on the platform at one time. And we had this whole idea where you could invite your business that you want to join, and when they join, you get a free month subscription. And that's still on there, but we were like, all these people are just inviting all these businesses, but they're inviting like Maverick and Walmart and like all these different giant companies. And we were like, all right, that was a miscommunication on our part. We gotta work better on that. What advice do you have for the inner team itself? So right now we have about 5 guys. 3 of us were just all co-founders, started up together. We're kind of reaching that point where it's like, okay, we found out where our price point is. We got to onboard some guys, all these businesses on the freemium model, and kind of start working with them a lot more hands-on. But everybody, just like you said, everybody's like, okay, Nick, you got to go out and sell more onboarding because that's what drives our revenue right now. And so like belief is really in the numbers usually. And how would you say, at least given your experience doing the same thing, that you were able to drive the most belief even when you weren't driving the most revenue that way? Does that make sense? It's specific questions, so I'm just trying to figure that out. That's hard for me.
Yeah. Well, I think you've done a good job with the website. And folks, like I said, you got to go check out subbit.io and see what Nick's built. What he's put together is really impressive. The website looks good, and it feels like, hey, this is a legit business. Like, I remember what Groupon was. I remember what they did. When I land on subbit.io, I go, I feel like this is a legitimate business. And a big part of giving that feeling is good design, really high-end, classy, good-looking design. And yours is still a work in progress, and you'll want to keep making it better. But like, that is really important to nail and get right. And people will believe more in your business because of that. I think for us, first customers matter. So we got BYU and the Marriott School of Management, a top 20 business school, to be our first customer. And then I co-authored Digital Marketing Essentials, the best-selling textbook on the subject, with a PhD from Wharton that taught at a top 20 business school, BYU's Marriott School. Right. Okay. And so that gave us a lot of credibility. And our second customer was University of Minnesota, and our third customer was Oregon State University. And so they were reputable, nationally known brands, right?
Right.
So for you guys, I don't think that your problem is being able to have enough reputation. You got 50 businesses in there. And I think what becomes critical is that the credibility will come from the users using it.
Okay.
Like I can go to your website and I can see that there's a lot of businesses that have chosen to sign up. But then when I look at the business's usage, I can see that most of them are not very actively using it.
Okay.
Or they don't have a lot of subscribers. They're not getting a lot of reviews. Whatever that piece is where I went, oh, it doesn't have a lot of traction yet. And I felt that.
Right.
So to me, that's why I go back to this point I was trying to make earlier, which is, dude, you got to go get some businesses where like they scaled fast. They went and grew their usage really well, because then you can use them as testimonials and case studies. And you can have what Stuart had, which was BYU used it with 60 students. They tested it. They loved it. And now they brought 120 students in the second semester to use it. Like that was really powerful for us. And then obviously, I think you're filling a need that businesses have. Businesses need repeat business, period. Everyone wants that. So you're solving a problem, and it's hard to get a good subscriber tool. And the punch cards, they're not that great. Anyone that's using a punch card is like an ideal potential customer for you guys, right?
Right. Okay.
So,
yeah. I mean, all makes sense. I'm definitely, I got one last question when it comes to stuff like that. When you're kind of getting into the competitive landscape, we hear about it so often. You know what I mean? Like, people are familiar with what subscriptions are. You know what I mean? We're not creating the subscription business model. And I think people can miscommunicate that. They kind of confuse it. What do you think whenever people are asking me, our competitive advantages or why we're actually different in the subscription offering or spaces like that? I have my answer, but from an outside perspective, someone who's built companies like these before, what would you say given what little you know or how much you know about what we do, competitive advantages where that stuck out to you that you've really never heard of before because you're familiar with the tech space?
Good question. For me, what I think that people want to hear is that you're changing their business value. You're coming in as a partner to grow their sales and grow their repeat business. And that that is what will actually grow the value when they go to sell their business. Like the subscription model exists, but are they doing it right? What are they doing to have repeat business and subscription business today? And if they don't have a good answer for that, then that's the pain you're solving for.
Right.
I think there are plenty of businesses where if you go to them, they're going to say, hey, we're really happy. Our business is going and doing well. We don't need the punch card thing works for us, right? If that's the case, I wouldn't overly spend too much time trying to sell that business on why they need what you think they need, because they may disagree with you because they're happy with what's working and their business is doing well.
Exactly.
Some businesses are just built for good retention. Crumble being one of them. Mm-hmm. New cookies every week. I got to go taste that. I can't wait for the Oreo again. When is it Oreo? And in the meantime, I go look to see if it's Oreo and it's not, but I see the freaking red velvet. I'm like, gosh, I like that one too. Right. I don't like the red velvet, but you get my point, right?
Yeah,
they've done something that's so good at keeping you. Don't waste time with those guys.
Okay.
I wouldn't.
Right.
Because where I would spend my time is with the business that hasn't figured it out. They need your help, and you really have a good solution to help them. And so that's, to me, the value of it is what you bring to the table is actually a legit way to get repeat business. And right now we're young and new. And so we're willing to help you grow your subscribers because we need to get you to have a lot of subscribers, which means a lot of repeat business. We'll spend the time in your store. We're going to spend 3 days when you first launch, and we're going to teach your team, and we're going to actually teach your customers as well. We'll do the selling for you.
Right.
And if you do that for one business and they double their normal 3 days of revenue, then you get to go to the next company and say, we just doubled Johnson's Bakery's 3 days of revenue. They sold 3 times the donuts.
Right.
Like,
right. Or,
let's do that for you.
Yeah. Or like what you said earlier, they'll go tell that other business for us. That's the best case scenario. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So I think to me that's where the real value lies. The subscription thing, I think that a lot of small businesses like the idea, but they've never really thought it through. And they may have a POS that has some sort, by the way, POS stands for point of sale in the biz world, folks. Whatever system they're using for that, they may have it, but they're probably not implementing it. And if they are not implementing it, it's because they haven't figured out how to get their cashiers to sell it, and they haven't gotten their customers to care or want it. Right. And so if you solve for that, which by the way, like as soon as you do it with a human, then you go, okay, how do we do this robotically? What is the way, or with print, what do we do to put something on the wall that gets everyone to go scan, download, subscribe, like get my free coffee? A great business, and I think every founder should be doing this. You need to look for the businesses that you can emulate, and a business that figured out how to scale massively what felt like overnight was Uber, right? And Uber, they did, not only will your friend get a free ride, but you're also going to get a free ride when you share the app. They don't have to do that anymore. I don't think they still do that. But for new customers, when it was a brand new app, they did that knowing that each person that did that came back 10 times. So who cared that they gave away 2 free rides, because they got 20 rides out of the 2 people, right?
Exactly.
And so if you can help businesses figure out that you're going to help them go from getting a one-time user to a 10-time user, like that's the genius of what you're doing. And so many businesses, they don't even realize the value of it. You'll have to teach some small business owners this stuff.
Yep. Yeah, that's what we're seeing. It's definitely taking a lot of time.
The education space, the education side of a new startup that's doing something innovative is hard.
Yeah, that's what we're seeing. But yeah, I've been taking down notes this whole time, so I got like a couple pages full of advice here. This is great. That's all the questions I got. So yeah, that should be pretty good. Actually, my last question I usually ask to successful entrepreneurs, people who've done it before, biggest piece of advice you can give me that you've learned.
Start with the end in mind. Go read the book Walk Away Wealthy by Mark Tepper.
Okay.
And it's going to be really important in your case. You've got 3 co-founders. There's probably some stuff to really talk through and figure out in regards to the long term of the business. Right. And and I got one other really good piece of advice for you, Nick. Bobby Lucas, who used to sell for you, reached out. Nothing but good things to say about you, by the way, and what you guys are doing. He said that he helped sell dozens of accounts for you guys, right? And which is awesome. And it means this guy was bringing some crazy good value to the business, but he didn't get to stick around, right? Because you can't afford to pay him on what your business is making right now, what he's worth, right? Because if he can go bring multiple new businesses, new deals to a business, there are other businesses that are making more money per deal where he can make more money, right? So it's not going to work in the long run. You have to constantly be figuring out as a founder how you're going to be able to give incentive to your team so that they stick around. And in my eyes, it's not that he didn't bring enough value to get paid it. It's that the value of those deals is going to take years, if months, if not years, before it's enough that the business got value enough to pay him what he was worth or could go make elsewhere in the market. Right.
Exactly.
And so if you solve for a way for the business to go and get 1,000, if each of those businesses had gotten 1,000 new subscribers, then you could have paid him enough. Right. And so it's like, how do you solve for faster actual subscribers once you sign a deal? You got to solve for that, because every time you bring on a new salesperson, they're going to go, well, I sold them. That's awesome. But the business doesn't make money until the subscribers come and pay the business that I signed up.
Right.
And the business isn't solving for that. Therefore, I don't get enough out of each deal that I bring to the table. So figuring out in any startup how to incentivize salespeople and pay salespeople. In our business at StuCant, you made money twice a year. We made money in January and September, right?
Okay. Yeah.
If you make money twice a year, you got to pay your sales reps salary and commissions. And there's a lot of months where you're not making money. How do you cash flow? Well, in our case, that meant raising money. And so because you need sales reps to keep going and growing the business, and no, it may take a while for the paybacks to come. If that's the case, then you have to have some money to pay people until it does, so that you keep them, especially the good ones like a Bobby, right? So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I have a whole set of questions for fundraising, but I'm not sure if we have too much time for all that.
Hey, let's do part 2 because that'd be a fun conversation. I know it's not one, you're not the only one with those questions, and I'm happy to do it because I've been there and done it, and I think it's a good one to like get different people's perspectives on besides mine. So let me give you mine. Let's do another episode. It'll be fun. Yeah,
that'd be awesome. We've tried all the pitch competitions, and you know that pain too. So it's definitely a grind. It's definitely going through all of it. So
absolutely a grind. Okay, well, let's set that up. I'll get with you after the call. Thank you so much, Nick, for joining. Nick Hepworth of Subbit.io. If you are a small business owner that needs more repeat business, you need what Subbit has to offer. Go check them out, folks.
Thanks, Stu.
You're so welcome, Nick. It's going to be fun to watch you take this thing to the moon.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it. So we can get it there.
Hey, founders, entrepreneurs, investors, and other listeners of Startups with Stu. Thank you for listening to this episode today. As I mentioned at the beginning, as I mentioned in the middle, I want to take a second again at the end and say, if you haven't yet and you're considering a podcast, go check out podallies.com. They sure help me a lot with the show. And I am so grateful for all that they do to help me accomplish Startups with Stu and get it out to the world so we can help more founders and take your startup to the moon. Go check out podallies.com and podup.com if you're interested in podcasting at any level.
Thanks for joining me on Startups with Stu. We have big goals to help millions of entrepreneurs. If you enjoyed this show, please take a minute to share it with someone else that needs to hear it, or leave a review. Remember, success is within reach for those who dare to dream big and take action. Until next time, keep pushing forward on your entrepreneurial journey.